it and it limped after it. Because this inherent idea of good and evil, and playing into this idea that it would end quickly because like if the big bomb dropped or something like that, we would all probably, the leftovers, kill each other. And it's like, no, we don't have an organized society because we're inherently good. We have an organized society because our individual chances of survival are much better in cooperation. And so you're going to have some people finding a way to absolutely limp along, the human race to limp along until you can limp no more. I remember in the Book of Eli, which wasn't a bad movie. I don't think the Book of Eli was a terrible movie, but I thought it was interesting because you really had all of these people just kind of looking for, something else to dedicate the human race to, and in was it The Postman with Kevin Costner? The Postman or The Post or something like that. You just needed something for people afterwards to motivate themselves towards, because that's really what we want. Even in the Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Apes was kind of perfect because it showed like the human beings a new struggle, a new thing to overcome. Because when you have a thing to overcome, you have hope that you are going to overcome that thing someday. And that gives you a reason to push yourself forward. Because that sense of mutual cooperation that you would have. Now, and again, I'm not saying good. It's not a question of good, because who's to say it's a good thing that you survive? It's just to say that the only way you're going to have that society limping along afterwards for whatever resources are left is because with enough cooperation, you're going to be able to survive, do some definition of survival. So say in the case of, a zombie, what, like, I don't know, Resident Evil or something, I don't know, Dawn of the Dead or something, where there's something, actually, you can almost say I Am Legend, almost. I mean, at least the movie version of I Am Legend, definitely. You can say that, okay, yes, you had something attacking the human race. And so the human race would have to try to find a way to survive. That thing could be anything. It could be a virus. It could be, I don't know, asteroid storms. Like, it could be an alien race. The point is that people would have to survive, would have to cooperate to a certain degree to be able to mount any kind of defense against it. And even if on a long enough timeline you're not going to survive, it would give people something to strive for. And I think those are the movies that resonate the most with me, because it shows that limping along. Even though some of these movies, I don't know, I can't think of any movie in that mode that's really good, because like even Terminator, it brings me to the point where I have to say, in the case of Terminator, would you want to live in that world? Like, would you want to survive? Like, you're eating rat underground. You're freezing your ass off. Like, would you really want to survive? I mean, after whatever it was, the aliens attacked, or, the rise of the monkeys or the virus, whatever the case is. After that, would you want to live in that post-apocalyptic world? You know what? Fuck no. All right. I am going to go where the missile is coming, and I am going to sit right underneath it. All right. I am going to go. If they know that the volcano in Yellowstone's about to go off, I'm going to go stand on top of it. Like, I do not want to fucking be here and living in that world in the least. I have zero interest of having to survive, to, try to survive in that kind of world, which brings us back comfortably to the Matrix. Because in the Matrix, you had all of those people who were living in, I don't know, some underground sexy rave. I don't know what it was supposed to be, but even though I will get all sorts of a sexy post-apocalyptic tale, you know what? No, in my opinion, thank the robots. think, and I think we touched on this in a past episode, but I guess since I'm saying it twice, it means I'm
Call back.
serious about it. Yeah, I guess I'm serious about it. No, the human race fucked up. If you watch the Animatrix series, it was the humans that were the aggressors. It was the humans that didn't want to make room for this intelligence that they created and that they depended on. And so they were willing to destroy the entire planet in order to maintain their dominance. The robots saved human culture by keeping the humans alive. They actually, we would have erased ourselves from existence if the machines didn't say, well, we do need power and there are these human things. I guess we could use them. So inside the Matrix, you still have real civilization. Outside the Matrix, everyone's eating puke. It's not a good looking future. I don't know what those machines are going to do about giving us an atmosphere back. Like, I don't know how they're going to manage that. But ideally, if they're in charge, they will do the most pragmatic thing. None of this, what we have now. So saying that the human race would be unfit to navigate the apocalypse, I think is a lot like saying the human race is unfit to navigate now. And so I think that these movies, yeah, they sum it up. Oh, and please check out one of the Left Behind movies with Nicolas Cage. So good. Yeah.
Did he ever make a sequel? Because remember, it was Kirk Cameron originally, and I got it.
It was Kirk Cameron, yes.
Dark Confession. I went to see the first one in the theater because it was back before there was digital streaming. I fucking had to see this. I'm like, I gotta fucking see this.
Dear.
Well, it brings us to a little bit about where we're at. I've always found the story fascinating. It's that part, and I can get into some shit here. As a thorough agnostic, meaning I have no real horse in the race of like, is there a God? Isn't there? Could be.
Yeah.
Probably not, but could be. All right, I'll keep open to possibilities. It's a great part of the comic book, right? I mean, it's epic. It starts off, it's Star Wars. It starts off with an epic battle. It ends with an epic battle. God throws Satan out of heaven, throws him down to hell, right? And then he comes back with a vengeance. Right?
Well, actually, a movie that's about the rapture, which is it's basically the rapture, was the Seth Rogen, This Is the End.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
It's basically the rapture.
Yes,
it really is.
That's entirely it. No, it's a joke. Yeah. All the good people get, you see all the good people get taken and the bad people, and there's those left.
Everybody else has to, run a train on Tatum, not Tatum. Channing Tatum. Yeah.
Danny McBride, who's the top apocalyptic master in that. But all jokes aside, and Nicolas Cage, make your own facial expressions for that. Could you just imagine having dinner with Nicolas Cage and him just making those facial?
I would fucking love it. I would fucking love it.
You'd be down with that?
Honestly, I would love to be friends with Nick Cage.
It'd be a trip. It'd be a trip. You might have to join Scientology though. So
I would be a part of any project that he would be doing. Like, I wouldn't care what his idea is. I'm like, I'm in. Nicolas Cage is one of, I honestly feel like he's a national treasure.
You see what you did there?
We do not appreciate the level of not giving a fuck this man is willing to go just to hit a different character, a different sort of angle, a different whatever. Like, the man is a true actor. I appreciate him. I would love to fucking hang out with that dude.
I think with Nicolas, the thing about Nicolas Cage is like he's definitely one of those actors where you're like, well, I mean, he was in some classics back in the day. Like, he just kind of does his own thing, and I feel like he's okay with that being his legacy. You know what I mean? Like, he's
still trying to pay off his debt to the IRS. So.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't give a shit.
Kids, hire an accountant.
You guys should look it up. It's a hilarious interview section, but Seth Rogen depicts a time when he was making Hornet.
Yes.
When he was making it, originally Nick Cage was going for, I think, the sidekick or something like that.
Kato?
And, hold on. So Nick Cage had this idea that was totally against the idea of both the character and what they were trying to go for. It was either the sidekick or the villain. But point being is like Seth Rogen talks about like how him and his buddy, who's the writing partner, have to, like, their producers like, look, you have to have this meeting with the guys. So they're like, whatever. So they do it. And he immediately launches into like this character that he had dreamt up for this role that, again, nothing to do with any other movie or the character or what they're trying to do, or even the thematic approach to the movie. Everything was off, but they're just sitting there. And then basically Nick Cage stays in character, but like ask like what they think. And they're like, what the fuck are we supposed to say? I mean, it's so Nick Cage. It's so Nick. The whole is almost like you would argue that there's a camera watching the whole thing, so Nick Cage can just put it into another movie that he's already working on. Like that's what I feel about this dude. Like we all talk about Daniel Day-Lewis and how he's a character actor. Nick Cage's like, hold my fucking beer because I'm about to do this for life. Like,
yeah.
Well, I'll just tie off the last thought on Nick Cage that I love the fact that he did make that Left Behind movie because he is such an outspoken Scientologist, and here you have the evangelicals trying to use him to push forward that particular story.
That's fine.
And even a lot of evangelicals were like, what? So, you know, just a
being a product of the 80s, I'm literally surprised, and I'm not kidding, that there's never been some sort of buddy cop type movie between Nick Cage and John Cusack. Like, I don't understand what Hollywood's there for if they don't see these parents.
Somebody out there on this podcast, get it out there to the movie industry. The
Nick Cage Superman. Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Justice League bullshit. You can give us Nick Cage being Superman.
That's it. What? But Greg, listening to your thoughts brought you know what I enjoy about doing this is you know when we talk, it brings me in a different direction than even I thought I was going with. But hearing you talk about human survival and limping along, and of course, you know even the evolutionary process of working together and working together, giving us a better chance of survival is impressive. But it made me think about like the question of what's your why, what's your will to live in these situations? Like what would be that case? I think about a man named Viktor Frankl, who was a Holocaust survivor and also a psychologist. And he did a lot of thinking about like why he survived versus those who didn't, beyond the physical, beyond of course the chance, but just somewhat about the mentality. And I think you touched on that though, that there needs to be some kind of greater why.
Yeah.
Whether you're assigning it good or evil, that's more your own purpose. That's more your own point of view that goes to it. Because of course you're naturally going to assign yourself as one of the good guys. It's just what we do. But it was just interesting that you were touching on that idea of like, we would need to have a why, some greater vision of something, whatever it is, which is why people will believe in causes greater than themselves, for good or for ill. It's something that our psyche clearly needs. I'm going back to, you know, images that were devoid of that without a doubt, right? I'm going back to, you know, what Jim Fink sat me down and showed me The Road Warrior, which at the time was called The Road Warrior, not Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. I didn't even see Mad Max first. There's just a little few clips of that in the original. Yes, Mel Gibson, my guy there, apparently.
Loves him.
What we didn't know at the time was that he just thought that the Jews were the ones who caused the nuclear holocaust. But okay, going with that. You know,
the nuclear holocaust and erectile dysfunction.
Right, but of course, right?
Yeah.
You know, wait, I mean, isn't it all just a metaphor for, you know, I got the missiles flying through the air, the big giant missile, and then you know, you got Jeff Bezos like, I'm gonna ride that big erect missile to the stars, in space. But that was definitely my first image of the apocalypse. I think, you know, it was interesting. I saw it as a relatively young kid. I saw it like 8 or 9. which is my son's age now, and just I laugh because I think of showing my oldest son that movie. I don't think he could handle it. I think he
Seriously.
and I don't think the sheer brutality of it truly struck